Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you already know, this is your U.S. General 5-drawer tool cart with side tray and deep compartment. Today is Monday, as you can see. We still over at the storage unit, still getting to it, still getting busy as always. Okay, about to bring you this content. In this particular segment right here, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Milwaukee brand line, okay, when it comes to their quarter-inch equipment, such as their quarter-inch impact drill drivers, just as well as their quarter-inch impact wrench, okay? We're going to do a little comparison, take a look at a few things when it comes to the Milwaukee brand line, all right? But I ain't going to hold you up too much more longer in the introductory of things, all right? But as I always state as usual, I always keep my signature lingering somewhere in the background. My Dunkin' Donuts coffee. You already know. Okay? So pretty much I'm about to get some contents to the top of the tool cart. We're going to dive right into it. So walk with me. Let's get it. Okay, now as you can see, got a couple of items out to the top of the tool cart. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the left hand side first, okay? And what you're basically taking a look at is the M18 fuel. Okay, this is the 2753 model right here. And this is a quarter-inch hex, all right? This actually has a 5.0 battery on it. Moving along towards the center, as you can see, okay? This is the 2553-20 model. And this is a quarter-inch hex, okay? This actually has a 6.0 battery on it, all right? Now, moving along towards the right-hand side, as you can see, this is the quarter-inch stubby with an anvil and friction ring, okay? This model here is the 2552-20 model, all right? Now, the thing is, when it comes to these three different models, like I stated, the model that's to the far left is an 18 volt model, okay? The two models that are sitting towards the right hand side are 12 volt models. If you notice on the quarter-inch stubby how it has an anvil and friction ring, okay? This is mainly more, to drive and remove fasteners with just strictly sockets, okay? There is no other feature when it comes to this particular tool other than that, all right? Just as well as these two technically almost look identical, okay? This is a quarter-inch hex that actually has a collet, okay, that retrieves and receives, which you can see here, right, is a hex shank, okay? This is a quarter-inch hex shank to a 3/8 drive anvil. So basically, this particular gun right here, you can interchange from a quarter-inch hex to a 3/8 drive and a 1/2-inch drive, okay? Even though this is specified as a quarter-inch drill driver, okay? Same thing when it comes to what you see here in the 18 volt model, okay? Which is, this is more of a drill driver, okay? This is not, it's an impact, but it's not the type of wrench, okay, like you would see over here in this quarter-inch stubby that actually has an anvil, all right? In a tool like these two are mainly more used to drive Phillip heads and flatheads, screws and lag nut bolts and things like that, okay? But they do actually have another feature where you can use them to drive sockets, like how I was explaining about using the quarter-inch hex adapters, okay? As you see on the M18, how the collet, okay, you pull a collet forward. But see, on these M18s, okay, you don't technically have to pull a collet outwards, right, in order to get the hex shank in. As you can see over here, okay, I have some adapters out, and I have some different varieties of adapters. So I want you to take notice to these different sizes, okay, and different lengths, all right? Here is what you can see is a 1/4" hex shank, right? If you take notice to these particular hex shanks right here, right, there's a difference because these are technically not for these particular type guns, even though, as you can see, I'm slipping the hex into the collet, right? But as you can see, I can pull it right out. So the collet in the tool is not biting down, okay, on the bit. You see how I can just pull it out just like that? So technically, these are not for these particular tools, okay? So as you can see, I'm gonna move along here, right? Now I'm gonna move to another 1/4". And as you can see, the indifferentials between the two, okay? So now, when I move to the collet, now you can see that it's locked in, okay? So the same thing that you would see here would be the same thing for this particular impact driver, okay? Now, on the M18, right, you have 4 different modes, okay? You have mode 1, right? Then you have mode 2, then you have mode 3. This mode 4 here is a self-tapping mode, in which you see here, okay? Now, on the hex drivers, okay, as you can see here, there are 3 modes. There is a 4th mode, okay, which is here. This would be your self-tapping mode. And as you can see, it shows a screw, okay? These settings is mainly more for things such as like sheet metal and things of that nature, okay? On the 1/4" stubby, all right, if you notice, it also has 3 modes. This also has somewhat of a self-tapping mode, even though this does not drill or drive screws, okay? This is mainly more used with sockets, okay? I believe that this feature slows the gun up to keep you from stripping fasteners and things like that, just as well as the self-tapping mode. I never really get into that mode when I'm actually using the tool, so I can't technically tell you that much the prior moment. When I do use most of the majority of my tools, I do use them in their high settings, okay? This particular M18 right here, the 2753 model, this was one of the very first Milwaukee tools that I purchased. Out of all the cordless tools that I actually own, it was this particular model right here that made all the other models come into existence as far as my equipment is concerned. When I first got this 1/4" hex, right, and I went to use it technically for the first time, I realized the power on this particular gun, and I said, oh no, I can use it in automotive applications, but not 1/4" drive applications, because technically it's too strong. It could work in 3/8 drive applications, okay? Really using this in the automotive field on 1/4", you're basically going to tear something up, or you're basically going to break something. This is why it was an importance for me to step down to the M12 line, okay? Something that has less force, but the same features, okay? Where I can get in even more enclosed areas. As you can see, I have the 2 standard size batteries, which one is a 6.0 and one is a 4.0. Okay, but in order to get into more tighter spaces, okay, now I would technically use one of these particular M12 batteries, in which you see here, okay? Now, when it comes to the 1/4" hex, technically compared to the Milwaukee stubby, all right, give you a little side-by-side comparison, okay? And as you can see, both tools are basically identical, okay, except the differential of the different features between the anvil with the friction ring and being able to have a collet, being able to interchange from 1/4 inch to 3/8 drive to 1/2 inch drive. But if you take a notice between the collet, the hex itself, okay, and the anvil, there is a major difference between the 1/4 inch friction ring and the reach. So with this particular gun, you may be able to get in an enclosed, tighter space, all right, but you will lack the features of what the hex would give you. Give you a good example. I'm gonna get out a socket real quick and get a socket on a 1/4 inch stubby real quick. Okay, so now you can basically see, all right, I'm using a Mac Expert 10mm shallow chrome socket at the prior moment because I have my tool cart closed and I can't access my tools with the lid open, so I just snatched the chrome socket from one of my other sets that's technically not in the chest. But as you can see, the differentials, okay, as far as the reach is concerned and being able to get in an enclosed tight area amongst the two. So like I said, you know, the 1/4 inch stubby is a tool that's used less, but it's still at my disposal when called upon, when the feature may not necessarily be needed at a particular time, but I need to get in a more closer enclosed area where that with having that size hex adapter with the length of the tool and not basically being able to get in. All right. That's not to say that it still couldn't be done with the hex driver, because I'll also give you a visual to that also. Okay, so as you can see, I reversed the tools to opposite sides. All right. So now I'm going to go back over here to my adapter selection. And as you can see, this is a 1/2 inch drive adapter, just as well as this is a 1/2 inch drive adapter. But remember how I stated how these particular adapters right here are technically not designed, okay, for this particular tool. But just hypothetically speaking, just so to say, you needed to get in an enclosed area with a socket, right? And say, for instance, you didn't have another tool accessible to you, and say, for instance, this was the only tool. It's not to say that you cannot get the socket on here, okay? Then get it on the inside, even though it can come out, right? But you would have to, wherever you are trying to fasten down or get loose, you would have to actually get up close on it, and you would have to apply pressure where that now this can't come out, okay? If technically needed, always remember to wear safety goggles, okay, and safety glasses, you know, when working with whether cordless tools, pneumatic impact tools, okay? Safety first. Okay, now in the same token, hypothetically speaking, if you needed to get a longer reach, it doesn't necessarily mean that you technically need this brand, but what I am showing you right here, give you the part number real quick, is 103 TMLPA. Okay, these are snap-on locking extensions, impact locking extensions with 1/4 inch hex shanks, as you can see here. Okay, so it basically would give you the length provided that you would need. And if you heard how the extension basically just locked in just now, okay, so the versatility that basically comes with this impact driver, you know, you can maneuver a lot of different applications. This is a very popular tool, not just in the automotive field, but in other trades, just because of this particular feature, which also you have right angle adapters also, okay, that turn at a 90 degrees angle, okay, which helps you get into some nice enclosed areas just as well. All right. Just to hear how some of the modes are. Okay, this is in mode 1, as you can see. So now switch to 2. Okay. Now I'm going to the 3rd mode. So you understand the difference? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the same run with the M18, because this is a very strong impact drill driver. Okay. Once again, there's a difference between an impact drill driver and an impact wrench. Okay. So we're going to get things back to its original settings. All right. So as you can see, it's in setting 1 at the prior moment. Okay. So you see how that's running. Now we're going to move along to setting 2. Okay. Now we'll move along to setting 3. Okay, so the M18 is a different type of beast, okay, other than technically the M12 versions. All right. Okay, so pretty much there's no need for me technically, you know, to really do the same test with the stubby, because the stubby is basically like the same thing. As you can see, this is in mode 3. Okay. So that's just basically, you know, what that is at the prior moment. Okay, so we're going to wrap this part of the video up right here. All right. So into that next tool haul, that next tool review, that next modification video, stay tuned with the content. All right. Like I said, things is changing gradually. I give different looks, different content. You know, one day it may be a tool review. One day it may be a tool haul. One day it technically may be a modification video. Don't get left behind. All right. Everybody enjoy the rest of their evening out there. Have a great day. And we're going to check you later. Peace.